nobody can ever take anything away from you if you have an education. And when you have an education and you can set your goals and you start to work towards that what you have, you are going to outdistance. They might be better off economically, but you're still going to be way ahead in life.
Basically, none of my family had ever graduated from high school in my family history, and definitely none of them had ever gone to college.
I don't think I would have gone to college. I am one of 9 children. My father was the sole provider for 11 people in our home, hardworking man.
Upward Bound began as part of Lyndon B. Johnson's War on Poverty in 1964. The Office of Economic Opportunity that year developed Upward Bound as an experimental program to help low-income first-generation students get a college education. In 1965, 17 Upward Bound programs enrolled 2,061 participants. Upward Bound was one of the first of several federal college access programs known as TRIO, so named because there were at the time 3 such federal programs for low-income students: Upward Bound, Student Support Services, and Talent Search. Today, there are 8 TRIO programs. What is Upward Bound? In all, more than 2 million people have participated in the Upward Bound program nationally. Upward Bound alumni include Oprah Winfrey, actresses Viola Davis and Angela Bassett, ABC News correspondent John Quinones, Democratic political strategist Donna Brazile, and Will Haygood, journalist and author whose writing inspired the film The Butler.
I think the biggest turning point for me was a program called Upward Bound that took students from the inner city and prepared them for college. They knew that the public school system was failing us, and this great government program that was part of the War on Poverty by the Johnson and Kennedy administrations way back in the 70s and 60s allowed these youngsters like me who had some promise to be better prepared, and then got us into college, that preparation. So that was a big deal.
Whom does Upward Bound serve? As mandated by Congress, 2/3 of Upward Bound students served must come from families with incomes at or below 150% of the federal poverty level, and in which neither parent graduated from college. How does it work? Upward Bound partners colleges with challenged and under-resourced high schools to expose students to college and prepare them for the challenge of higher education. Students between the ages of 13 and 18 receive instruction in college readiness, literature, composition, mathematics, and science on college campuses, after school, on Saturdays, and during the summer.
Well, there's a huge myth about Upward Bound that individuals feel that this is an academic program. And it is, but we are so much more than that. Academically, a student is not going to achieve unless that student has a vested interest in what's going on. And we ensure that happens. That doesn't always happen at their schools. Schools are huge. There's a lot of places students can hide. And if you've got a really great student who sits in the back and doesn't make a lot of noise and doesn't call attention to himself or herself, then that person is going to float right through high school. We don't allow that to happen here. So in addition to being an academic program, we work on making sure that these students feel safe, secure, that they're able to take safe academic risks. And we make sure that students develop their own persona here. And again, that's something that the feds don't talk about. That's something that's non-quantifiable. You can look at a student's test scores and put that down, and that counts for so many points on an annual performance report. But how that student feels in a classroom, and how that student participates, and what that student thinks about himself and the learning process, can't measure that.
Don't know about Upward Bound is how the bonds of the students help push those students academically. And those students stay connected. If they stay in college, they stay connected. They don't have to even go to the same college. They stay connected. They get out of college, they stay connected. And that gives them a network of friends, of people to support their education and to support their long-term career goals.
I think that we address what a student needs because we get to know our kids personally. And by knowing our kids personally, they let down their guards and say, I don't know this, I need to learn this. And we keep them accountable for that.
It's an exceptional program. It gives the information and the knowledge to the children, our children, who are going to be our future, on how to study, how to go out there and weed through all that nonsense, that red tape to get funding, and finding the right colleges and asking the right questions at the college. You know, it helped my daughter, and I've heard from other parents, it directed them and assisted them in numerous ways.
I think it's important for people to know about Upward Bound that students come into Upward Bound as rising freshmen. So the fact that they stay with us from the time they're rising freshmen until they're seniors is really a great opportunity for us as administrators, as staff, to work with students in a way that many people don't get a chance to in the educational field. And that is because we have an opportunity, for instance, to get to know them in a residential setting where they're living on campus for 6 weeks over the course of a summer. And so they're staying there. We see them not only during the class periods, we see them in the evenings, during organized activities, and we have plenty of opportunities to just have some downtime with them, you know, whether it's while they're playing basketball or sitting on a bench somewhere, and talk to them about not just do they get the algebraic principle, do they understand the assignment for the composition that they have to put together, but what is it that they're thinking about the process of schooling? What is it that they're feeling about the classroom interaction when they're sitting in the classroom? Why it is that they don't really want to sit in the front of the room? And so in this sense, you know, we get to know the student very well, and that, you know, that speaks to development of a relationship.
I'm in Algebra 1 and I learned more than I learned in a month at my old school here. And for all the other classes, they're great. They teach me, I volunteer a lot, and they actually take my opinion seriously. And they actually care what I say, and they help me get better.
Favorite class had to be SAT math, or any math class with my professor, Miss Tros. She is like the best. She's one of the people that kind of kept me going.